I can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Mister, will you please wake up?
We're down on the 8. In trouble. Got a block behind him. Gonna throw and a run. Complete to the 25. To the 30. Lindsey's got 35-40. Lindsey's got 45-50. 45-40. Run, Lindsey. 25-20. 50. 10. 5. Lindsey stop. Lindsey stop. Lindsey stop.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It is indeed Snowman in the Morning. It's the Wednesday edition thereof. And we thank you for joining us this morning. I will have Cole Johnson on the line for just a moment. That will be the good news. The bad news is duty calls at the top of the second hour, so I won't have him for the entirety of the show. So what is going to happen is we're going to completely go off schedule because I wrote down everything I wanted to talk about. I put it in the correct order, and I totally forgot I only get Cole for hour one today, and he's here with me right now. Good morning, sir. Great to have you.
LeBron save us. Sincerely, the Lakers.
And that critical Broncos fan is riding shotgun with this. We'll do it live. Screw it. We'll do it live. I was going to take that out of the opening, but then so many of my friends got a hold of me and said, no, keep it. Keep it. It's been your identity since you started the show. So I'm going to keep it. I am going to change part of the opening, though. As I was informing the fans, I got to go off script because I only get you for hour one. And duty calls, and I understand that. Trust me. Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. Burned it when I got done with it. So, with that in mind, and I made a promise to you, well, here it is.
In a world where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness is shunned, there stands to be a figure on the lips of those who love him and those who hate him. The inane comparisons to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant continue and has existed since 2003. There is no end in sight, for the battle between those who unconditionally love and unconditionally hate him wages on. These are their stories. Welcome to the BRONSEXUAL Confessions.
Before I give this to my partner, my only 3 words are as follows. It's all yours.
Oh, so we're doing this off rip. Okay, well, I don't know if you want to hear this week's installment of this one, but I got to.
Go. Go with it.
All right, so when last we spoke about our favorite superhero, the perfect response to that.
Hey, I know superheroes, and he ain't it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
No. That's all right. That's all right. 3 main stories popped up involving LeBron James.
Only 3?
Well, I mean, I'm talking about off the court. On the court, of course.
Okay.
LeBron needs to save the Lakers, and yes, he saved them last night and that type of junk. Yes, but the first one involves a man that is near and dear to both our hearts. The man that is simply nicknamed the Captain.
Yes.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or Lou Alcindor for the old schoolers.
Hey, either works.
Yes, either works. I was proud of him for being bold, brazen, and intelligent, as always, because he's one of the most intelligent athletes ever. Enough to actually say, quote, goats don't dance.
Oh.
Close quote. Now, you bronsexuals are on schedule with everything. This is without exception because you all wanted to make this a referendum on this is an old man. He's doing an old lawn. Get on my lawn take. He needs to shut up.
Oh,
Or that's just another example of hating. You want to hate on the goat. Or who the heck is he? He didn't do anything in the league.
Oh, they did not go there.
I've heard a myriad of those three in general prognostications of why this was wrong for Kareem to say this.
God.
It basically many of the comments that were for pro LeBron in this spawned off of those three general ones. And to that I say this, it just goes to show how little you all do research, how little you all regard anybody else, and definitely how little you respect anybody else who's played the game other than LeBron Raymond James Sr. He was, and then I read this take this morning.
There's
Yes,
more.
Yes, I read a take this morning, and another. This is another one too. Well, I mean, hey, for those who do know Kareem's career, well, I guess he didn't say the same thing when he laid out Kent Benson. Okay, let me hip you historians to something because see, I am an NBA historian.
As am I.
1977, it was in the Mecca.
Mm-hmm.
In Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This was a center by the name of Mark Benson.
Kent Benson.
Oh, sorry, Kent Benson. Thank you. Kent Benson. He's running down to set up offensively. Mm-hmm. Kareem is already in position defensively to deny whatever he wants Benson to do in the post, which I know you new school NBA fans, you don't understand what that means. Post play is foreign to you. I understand that.
Very, very foreign.
So obviously there must have been some jousting that went on earlier,
mm-hmm.
because Benson decides to want to haul off and punch Kareem in the gut.
Yep.
So Kareem was like, okay. He shook the shot off. He was like, okay, all right. And then he acted as though he was getting in position to defend in the post again, Benson, and all of a sudden, a pretty right cross lands on Benson's jaw, flooring him. Now you see, you idiot bronsexuals. If that was LeBron and LeBron was the one who got gut punched, and then he went and slid on somebody, and someone else would have said, "Well, LeBron should have thrown that punch," you'd be all over him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yet, you mentioned this as a slander to Kareem when Kareem was basically saying, "You aren't supposed to be vulgar when you celebrate doing something." That was his point.
I thought it was obvious when he made
Yes.
that point.
Yes. You shouldn't have to be vulgar. There was no need for anyone, let alone LeBron, to grab his crotch in that situation. I mean, besides, he basically did a grab the crotch moment when he kicked those fans out, because this happened in Indiana.
Yes, it did.
But bronsexuals, you see it as anything. You see this as an attack on your king. And this was not an attack on anybody. This was pure, sound, wise analysis.
Did you
And
say
I know-
wise?
Yes, and I emphasize that on purpose because I know that is the worst four-letter word a bronsexual could ever hear.
Yep.
Wisdom spoke from the captain, and what do you do in wisdom? You fear it.
Oh, yeah.
You fear it. But it's like what the Lord says. The Lord did not give you a spirit of fear, but one of love, power, and a sound mind. But you, bronsexuals, you have fear that you wear all over you like it's a perfume.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear a wisdom post spew wisdom.
Yeah.
I mean, pure wisdom.
Pure, unadulterated wisdom.
And you poo-poo on it like you're a dog in a lawn. That is what makes me so frustrated with you bronsexuals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll give you a brief understanding. When I say bronsexuals, I'm not saying all LeBron James fans, because I know of a few who are LeBron James fans, but they have a proper perspective on the athlete and the sport in which he plies his trade.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about them.
No.
Because they actually understand what it is to be a sports fan and a fan of a person. And they understand the role this guy plays. They understand his perch in the pantheon of basketball.
Yep.
I'm not talking about them. And neither is my partner.
No.
Because he understands that too. No, I'm talking about the individuals who, when he was in Cleveland, when he was in Miami, and now when he's with LA, he could slice Jennifer Lopez's throat.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd say it's Jennifer Lopez's fault. It's that type of mentality. Well, she shouldn't have been there to get her neck in prime position for LeBron to slash him. That is how you think. So there's that. Then there's the fact that LeBron was angry.
Mm-hmm.
He was in righteous indignation over the fact that he had to be called for protocol on COVID.
Yep.
And he didn't like the protocols. He disliked the fact that this was something that he needed to undergo, and he felt he was unjustly undergoing it.
Yep.
You see, what you bronsexuals need to understand is something that the bronsexual king needs to understand. And that is, what is it called? Health, safety, and protocol, which means they're trying to make sure that this person isn't going to be passing along a virus that we have been struggling to solve for almost 2 years.
James Harden, hello.
Thank you. Yeah. Meanwhile, we have idiots like James Harden who just go to parties, doesn't care if he spreads anything to anybody. But it's just that idiocy, and then you ride with idiocy because you were ride or die with this. Okay, fine, I'll say it. You ride or die with this chicken man form. Because if he's angry, doggone it, there must be some righteous indignation that I got to be angry with too. Besides, I ride for LeBron, I die for LeBron. Then I remind you, someone says the only person, not man, not woman, the only person he would let clap his cheeks is LeBron. See, it's that mentality that you all have.
And we actually saw that.
And it's just ridiculous.
We actually saw that, folks. I am not kidding.
I wish I was joking, and I wish I almost wish I didn't bring this up to my partner, but it was so idiotic. He had to see this too because I couldn't believe it.
I had to see it, and I couldn't believe when I saw it.
Oh my! And then there is his ongoing beef with former ESPN personality, now current Atlantic, I think, personality, Michelle Beadle.
Why?
So apparently, Ms. Beadle was saying that LeBron was throwing a little haterade in her direction. And
really?
Yeah. To the point where she said that, I won't say she's tight with one of his boys, Maverick Carter, but she knows him and she talks with him every now and then. And if LeBron gets within the circle of Maverick and Michelle, LeBron basically will not shake her hand. and it was all due to the fact that Michelle Beadle had the audacity to be critical of LeBron.
I'm sorry, did you say critical?
Mm-hmm. It's all because she had the unmitigated gall to be critical of LeBron.
I love that.
and someone misread the situation because someone said, "Well, this must be because LeBron is a racist." So I was like, no. It's not, because in the story, which is absolutely true, Michelle Beadle goes on to say, "Well, I wasn't his favorite, but Rachel Nichols was."
Oh no.
And the reason why is because Rachel sang the praises of LeBron over on the left, sang the praises of LeBron over to the right, sang the praises of LeBron down low, sang the praises of LeBron up high. Anything LeBron, Rachel Nichols was on the train, basically riding the conductor seat on it.
Foot.
This has been my issue with LeBron for the longest. And it spills on to you idiot bronsexuals, because you all seem to not understand what criticism and hate are. But it's understandable because LeBron doesn't quite understand, even at 37, as of 4 weeks from now, what criticism and hate is.
And you know the best part? He never will understand it. And this is a father. I said it. This is a parent who is supposed to teach his family the difference between something like, I don't know, criticism and haterade. He ain't got it yet.
Mm-mm.
And this is the father of 3.
Yes, father of 3. 2 boys.
Including Brian. Go on, please, before I go off. Go on, please.
No problem. So it's not a race thing. It's a hate on me thing. In fact, bronsexuals, you all have something very much in common. No, I'll put a bookmark on that.
Oh.
You see, here is the example of criticism. LeBron has the size to go into the paint, and at will he could score. However, his footwork is horrible.
Wait a minute. That sounds like something I'd say. Wait,
Yes.
Try that again. That sounds like something I have said. Wait, try that again. That sounds like something I've said for 19 years. And good morning to Trisha Bray Smith from Transform You Radio and that critical Broncos fan riding along with us. Go on.
See, that is criticism. That's looking at something a person does and critiquing what they do, right and wrong.
Yeah.
And you're giving an honest assessment of what you see of this person. That is criticism.
I thought that's what that was.
Yes.
I thought that's what that was.
Hate would be, I don't like the fact he has a receding hairline.
That's hate.
Now, you see the difference, bronsexual? Criticism is talking about the athlete and what he or she does, and honestly saying it right and wrong,
Right.
that they do. Hate is capping on somebody for no apparent reason other than the fact that you just simply do not like whatever that person does.
Hell, Michael Jordan got hate for 14 years.
Yes. Criticism. You know, it's Game 7, 2016 World Series. An athlete of his stature should not be blazing up and firing off and smoking trees in a luxury box in a stadium.
Especially when it's a smoke-free joint.
That is criticism.
I've been to Progressive Field. It's smoke free, and you see that. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Hate would be you're a Celtics fan. You see LeBron wearing a Lakers jersey. You hate him because he's a Laker.
Yeah,
You see the you see the difference, Bronsexuals? It's that simple. It's that cut and dried. It's that plain.
I thought it was.
But it doesn't surprise me because as I was saying earlier, you as a fan base and LeBron himself have a lot in common with another fan base that I know. One that is prominent, one that sticks out like a sore thumb, one that you almost cannot miss, one that you cannot ignore, just like you all. You just can't ignore them. Because you see, Bronsexuals, you all are the sports equivalent to the Make America Great Again throng. And LeBron is like Donald Trump.
Again, yipe. Just plain yikes.
And I will say this again. You, the wonderful Bronsexual throng, you're loud, you're proud. You exude excitement for your player. But if someone says something critical, you rail against them hard. And then you call them out their names. Because they have the audacity to call out something critical of the player that you worship.
Like, I don't know, footwork. Like, I don't know, as I pile on here, lack of a jump shot, lack of a clutch gene. I'm sorry.
I can go on. Like shooting motion, because that's inconsistent. Like a go-to weapon that is within 15 feet.
Yeah.
Other than a dunk.
Did you say within 15?
Yes.
You said within 15 feet, right?
Yes.
That will be classified as something James Worthy was the master of, Scottie Pippen was the master of, Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson. We like to. It starts with an M. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, a mid-range.
I don't know. Like, actually shoot 80% from the free throw line. You see, those are critiques.
You said 80%, right? Like Michael Jordan used to do, like Mark Price used to do, like Stephen Curry does. I'm sorry. Did I go there with that one?
Because, as I said, if LeBron is so great and he's such a wonderful scorer,
and that's a huge. That if is about the size of the old Richfield Coliseum.
and understand, Bronsexual. Most prolific does not mean great. He can score. But he's
Ben Suter is tuning us in. What's up, Big Ben? Shout out to the BS3 network tuning us in via YouTube. I'm sorry, had to get the shout in. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Hey,
Ben, love you, bro.
Hey, Ben, I got to get you back on schedule because we are totally off the rails today.
But I'll say it one last time because I think it didn't take the first time. You all are such a rabid fan base with such blinders on.
That's an understatement.
With such a zeal that borders, no, it doesn't border, which goes over the line of sexual. Because all of you to a man, and I'm not even talking about the women.
Right.
All of you to a man will drop to your knees, open your mouths, and take LeBron's member and insert it in your mouth. All of you would.
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Just as the city of Cleveland.
Yes. And if anybody would have the nerve to say something critical about your king, your man, your lover, then they're a hater. and I'd be doggone if the brunssexual throng is not unlike the MAGA hat crowd. And LeBron is like Donald Trump. Hey, the only thing that y'all are missing is yellow and purple hats. that says I'll suck LeBron off.
Yeah, that's about right.
Idiots. In a world where logic and sense flies completely out the window, while purple and yellow glasses are donned, rises a figure who encourages ridiculous, undying loyalty. Good Lord, I'm about to throw up.
Me too.
This has been yet another installment of The BRONSEXUAL Confessions.
Oh boy, the folks tuning in via YouTube having a blast with this. I got Scoop Miller coming on in a few seconds. That critical Broncos fan is throwing up. And Trisha says that's some powerful influence. I need to step up my game. We all are, Trish. We all are in different form. In different forms, we all are. Top of the second hour, I got a subject that Chris Dietz is going to weigh in on tomorrow, but I'm going to give my thoughts today. As I mentioned, I got Scoop Miller coming on in just a few minutes. In fact, I may ring him in now. But I want to keep going. I know I'm due for a break, but bear with me here. There was a post talking about the conference that made me one of the conferences for me that made me fall in love with old school college basketball. That is the Big East. The original Big East. For me, it was the Big East and then the Big Ten with the number 10 and then the ACC. Those are the three conferences that made me fall in love with college basketball.
Same. All three, same.
And for me, with the Big Ten, a particular influence was Illinois because the team in '84, Lou Henson was the coach, and then the Flying Illini of '89 with Marcus Liberty, Nick Anderson, and the bunch. See, this is what I miss about college basketball, and I know my partner will agree with me when I say the following. There is no kind of local recruiting anymore.
It's gone. It's amazing how it is. It's gone. It's as if these wonderful boys and girls.
Yep. And thank you for saying that. Mm-hmm. Thank you for saying that, because the girls are. Let me pause and bring in Scoop Miller here in just a moment. While I took the microphone for a moment. See, boys and girls are getting played to the left when it comes to recruiting, especially locally. It's not fair. It is not fair for the girls that play incredible basketball. And believe me, I'm from Chicago. I have seen some great young women play high school basketball, a lot of whom I've announced for, but because they're not recruited by big-time schools, they get played to the left. Scoop Miller now joins me for this important conversation. Good morning, my friend.
Hey, good morning, Snowman. How you been?
I've been good. How about you, my man?
Oh, just enjoying life and certainly enjoying this hoop season.
Same here. My partner, Cole, brought up a point that there have been, we made the point that the local recruiting in college basketball has disappeared, and there are a lot of young men and women that get blown to the wayside because they're not out of state, because they don't fit their team's profile. What you got for me on that subject?
I tell you what, you see a ton of that here in the Midwest.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know what the spirit was systemic throughout the nation like it is here, but I see that at all levels, Snowman. I mean, not just at the NCAA Division I level, but the trickle down effect all the way through. So I've never quite understood it. I like the local talent when it's there. Why not tap into it?
Exactly.
It certainly seems to be a big time trend throughout the country.
One of the masters of recruiting is a fellow I had the pleasure of meeting, God rest his wonderful soul, Lou Henson. When he was the coach of University of Illinois, Bruce Weber followed him, and or first it was Lon Kruger, then Bruce Weber. Eric Wilson has a great comment. The man in charge of the sports arena said, "Welcome to the age of social media where cameras are everywhere and film is being shown at the age of 8." That is so true. That is so true.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And I'm certainly glad I did not grow up during that age, but certainly that's the way it is now. And boy, with the social media epidemic the way it is,
Yes.
sometimes a 5-minute spell in a kid's life can really make a difference.
Yeah, it really does make a difference. And I'll maintain this point. I have been a fan of women's basketball since '82 when they had their first Final Four. Why to me do they still feel like less than in terms of their coverage, in terms of bringing in, hell, I'll go ahead and say it, in terms of bringing in money to help the school, to help them. Yeah, I know we got NIL licenses all over the place now with that being passed, but it still seems to me, Scoop and Cole, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the women are still getting pushed aside. Am I wrong?
No, all you have to do is look at the bubble tournament where you had the men with their exercise room was just filled with all sorts of exercise equipment, whereas with the women, they only had like a section of a room.
Yeah.
And then with the catering, the guys had a smorgasbord of stuff, whereas with the women, they maybe had finger foods on a table.
Scoop,
Yeah,
talk,
I mean,
Scoop, talk to me about this, please. Am I wrong in my assessment?
No, unfortunately, you're not wrong on it, Brian. I think a lot of it, I'm sure you guys have hit the point, but it's foul money. I think that's really, unfortunately, it still kind of trumps everything out there as far as I think the mentality goes for that. But certainly, certainly there's some great things about this sport on both genders. There's some awfully talent in teams and programs out there, but it's still slighted as you're alluding to.
It's made me think of a change that I'm going to make in my coverage when I get back behind the mic next year, after I beat this cancer to a bloody pulp and it's out of me and I get back to a full-time schedule. I'm shifting my focus a little bit. Have I enjoyed covering boys and men's basketball, high school and college? Yeah. But my wife gave me a hell of a suggestion, and I think I'm going to dive in and follow it. And that's put a concentration on more girls basketball, girls sports, and women's sports. Because when I covered Lewisburg last year, gentlemen, as you know, I did a lot more softball than baseball, and they enjoyed it. That kind of coverage, and I know Eric Wilson is tuning in, that kind of coverage is not only needed, and I'll come to you first, Scoop, it's not only needed, but necessary.
Yeah, it really is. And I've tried to make a point here. I've actually, the last 2 years, I've done some high school girls games for a conference near where I'm at. And I cannot tell you how people have just really stepped up. So appreciative, from the girls to the coaches to the schools and even communities. I mean, there's not a day that goes by that I don't get some type of email or text, thanking some of the networks that I'm with for what they're doing, because I think people are really kind of starving and craving, that type of attention, and it's been a really positive thing for me.
Cole, your thoughts?
Well, I look at now, you're starting to see slowly the coverage lean toward them, toward them. The women's Final Four, now the College World Series of softball. You're starting to see it, but you still feel that
It's slighted.
it's secondary.
Mm-hmm.
It's put on the shelf. It's put on the back burner. It's something to not really be considered.
It's leading me to what I said.
It's an insult.
I'm sorry, Cole. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
And it's an insult. It's an insult to those women athletes. And it's an insult to the institutions who, I think, back wanting to just look at these women as, well, lesser than the men are.
Yep. When I covered softball for Lewisburg, and they kept going further and further in their tournament, I mean, I had fans from the visiting team, jump on, because I did it via YouTube at Lewisburg. I had folks from the visiting team jump on saying, thanks for lending a voice. I want to do more, and I guess I'm going to go ahead and make the commitment out loud right now here in December 2021. Am I going to cover football next year? Yes, I am. But the focus for me now is going to shift. And I guess you can call it a paradigm shift, because I do have Brian Snow Media. I still have the SDM Sports Network. I guess now I'm going to go ahead and make the commitment aloud and do more women's sports, because this is necessary. It's not only needed, but necessary. And Scoop, I'm following you, and I echo what you're saying about the fans, the community, all reaching out and saying, simply put, to start with, thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's overdue, Snowman, and you're kind of making some great points on that. And it's kind of funny, Monday I had a conversation with some ladies. We were talking college hoops and so forth, but they went back to the days where when they were playing, they had the old Rovers where you could only have two people on offense, two on defense, and then two girls were allowed to cross the half-court line at Rovers. And, of course, they were just tongue-in-cheek, like, oh, yeah, because us girls, we weren't really tough enough to run up and down the floor like the boys could. We weren't allowed to throw these types of passes and this. We can only do this. And, they've kind of mentioned the fact that it's improved, but it still has a way to go as far as the mentality and the way it's kind of put up on the shelf, as Cole mentioned.
Yeah, and it's sad that it's put on the shelf. And look, nothing against ESPN and their coverage of the women's tournament. It's that part, I'll say, is long overdue. But at the same time, there's still more that can be done. A lot more that can be done. If the men's tournament can be held in stadiums of 70,000 plus, why can't you up the ante with the women and have it in stadiums of 40,000 plus? You mean to tell me that can't happen and they can't bring in the same kind of money and the same kind of results? I beg to differ.
And some of these programs, they already do. So, it begs the question. If the women's Final Four is starting to be to the point where you have to give that big of a promotion to it as you do the men's Final Four, where's the revenue that the women's Final Four generate go to?
Good question. Scoop, your final thought on this?
Wow, that's a great question, and again, there's just so much more can be done. I think sometimes it's, and again, I don't want to put myself in trouble here, but sometimes it's just a little bit too much lip service and not enough really kind of back in the pot there. And I think there is not only a need, but there's certainly a want for it. And hopefully, just people like you, Brian, just maybe bring it to light might be a way to kind of get the ball heading in the right direction here.
Yeah.
But certainly more needs to be done here in this day and age. This is 2021.
Yes.
And we should be leaps and bounds ahead of where we're at.
Well, if I'm foolish enough to think that I can start a revolution and a change, then as God is my witness, I am that fool. And I'm going to do something about it beginning next year when I'm back behind the mic full time. That's my good friend Scoop Miller joining us to talk some college hoops and to put a perspective on what needs to happen for women's sports. Thank you, my buddy. I appreciate it. I love you. I can't wait to talk to you next week.
Yeah, I'll look forward to it, Snowman. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Scoop Miller joining me. And Cole, great question. Where's the revenue from the women's tournament? Mm-hmm. Because you see it being held in arenas of 20,000 plus.
Yeah.
Up the ante to 40,000. Up the ante to arenas with 40,000. I mean, you know a great place that could host a tournament that did in 2005? St. Louis.
Oh, gosh. They
The TWA Dome.
They hunger.
Don't
they hunger for tournaments like that?
I got a better place. You know where you can really hold a tournament if you have the correct arena for it? Seattle.
Yeah, definitely.
No question about that. You can hold a tournament in Seattle. The NCAA and locals around there can build an arena, a multi-purpose place of some 40,000. You understand me? 40,000. You can build a multi-purpose place of 40,000, sort of like the Alamo Dome in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You could build a place like that, and the professional leagues, NBA, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, they can all lend a hand, can't they?
They most certainly can. But you asked the right word in phrasing it to the point of leading the witness, so to speak, into asking the right question.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and just make this commitment to more women's sports on my coverage through my company. Sportscasters Talent Agency of America is going to lend me a big hand because I'm going to join their organization, and I'll make the suggestion to you, Cole, as well. Okay. Joey James has been chiming in like crazy. RIP to the mid-range.
Say that again, Joey.
RIP to the mid-range. RIP to the mid-range. And he also threw this out there. AAU is the death of recruiting for prep hoops. Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? Tina Marie says, hey, you awesome person. Thank you, Tina. This is the void that Kobe and Gigi were going to fill with women's sports. Well, call me the Mamba mentality then. I'm taking a piece of Mamba, of Gigi, of MJ, to borrow from Stephen A. You know, champions.
Yeah. That's exactly what Kobe and Gigi were going to do. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and fill that void. I'm going to bust my ass to fill that void. Because that's a void that needs to be filled immediately. And it should have been filled.
This is a story that I love about Gigi. One time, they were both she and Kobe were attending a Lakers game, and there was a Lakers fan that walked by Kobe, and he said, "Hell, man, it's so great, man. We miss you playing, man. We miss you playing, man. We wish you had a son so we could see him come up behind you and do what you did." And all Gigi said was, no, that's me.
Oh man, Gigi was going to change women's basketball. You could see it.
She was on the verge of doing it.
And Kobe was right there with he.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And I was
well, damn it, I'm gonna be that influence. You heard it here. You heard it here. December 8, 2021. Me on the verge of turning 50 next summer. I plan to be cancer free. I plan to be a little more slim. Have some more energy. My wife's gonna back me up. Hell, my wife gave me the suggestion. Gave me the suggestion. So, Dr. K, honey, I'm going to follow it. Part of this program is brought to you in part by Official Car Cleaning and Detailing. My buddy Isaac Moore will get you hooked up at 219-561-6645. That's 219-561-6645. Got a question of the day before I let Cole go after this.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. I only have Cole for this hour, so I'm going to end this hour with a little bit of fun. Time now for our question of the day. And Cole, you're going to like this question.
Okay.
What's an old school video game that got you hooked on playing them? And that's for everybody out there. What's an old school game that got you hooked on playing them? And I'm talking about not at home. I'm talking about in an arcade with the neon lights and the pinball machines and the classic rock music or the funk, and I'm talking about that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see. Now, my mother actually loved playing Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man.
Yep.
So, of course, I ended up liking it too, right? But it didn't really hook me like it did her.
Mm-hmm.
A Centipede did.
Oh, you stole my heart.
Centipede,
Millipede.
Then it graduated to Galaga.
Galaga, yes. Galaga.
Yeah, and then Pole Position.
Oh, you did not just steal my heart again. Pole Position. Prepare to qualify.
Yes.
And then if you just happen to qualify and you think you're off the hook, good driving. Now it's time to race. What?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You'd think the game is over and 7, 8 years old. You're getting hooked on pole position. You're like, okay, I got through the qualifying. I'm good. The game is over.
Yeah.
No.
It just started.
No. Eric chimes in and says Mortal Kombat. I can dig that. That's the 90s.
That's
the
was
90s.
Yeah, that was later. and I love Mortal Kombat, but that was later.
Who was your character on Mortal Kombat? Who was your character? Who was your guy?
Mine was Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero?
I like Scorpion. I like Scorpion too, but mine was Sub-Zero.
I liked them both. My guy was Liu Kang.
I liked him.
When I finally learned how to throw those fireballs and that flying kick, I was good. But see, you said pole position. You said pole position. Okay.
I hit you in the fields. I hit you really in the fields.
You hit me in the fields hard with Centipede, Galaga, pole position. And like I said, when you think you're okay, and I got a question for Eric. Eric, can you call in second hour if you're available? We'll see if we can make that happen. But you're like, okay, you get through the qualifying round and you think, okay, you're okay. I set a high score. Then all of a sudden the game stops. And it's like, good driving. Now it's time to race. What?
Oh, my.
Did I not just do that? No.
No.
You didn't. And then pole position 2 really decided to screw with you. When they had 4 different tracks.
Yep.
The test track, the Fuji, the Suzuka, and the Seaside. And I hated the last 2.
Oh, you're bringing me back to junior high school.
I hated the Suzuka and the Seaside, but I kept trying them.
Yeah, I did too. Same. Hated those tracks, but I kept trying them too.
Kept trying them.
It's like, doggone it, I'm going to succeed in both of them.
Exactly. Yeah. When I would walk home, this will bring it back. There was a record shop that had penny candy.
You brought it back just by saying the word
penny cookies. Had penny cookies. You get 10 for a dime, and they had video games in the back of in the back of the shop.
Oh my!
And one of the games for me was Pole Position 2. They had the record shop kept rotating video games. It was the first time it was Pole Position, Donkey Kong, and Super Pac-Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I rock with both Super Pac-Man and Donkey Kong too.
But Pole Position kept eating my allowance.
Yes. Yeah, it gobbled a lot of mine up too.
Dad gave me $20 allowance each week. 10 of it went to Pole Position. Either one. And then when I graduated, and an arcade still lived on the South Side at a place called Evergreen Plaza. Those of you in Chicago remember that place. I mean, they refined it. Had everything. Had the lights, had the neon, had all of it. Yeah, I found Pole Position in that joint. And it still kept eating my allowance. When I went away to school, when I went away to college, they asked me, what's one place you want to find? I want to find some video games. Why? Because I know the classes are going to drive me nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm going to need a break. Well, they showed me to a gaming area that had RBI baseball.
Oh.
The arcade version, not the sit-down version in your dorm. Yeah. The arcade version where you broke every part of your back. And you only have 300 points to work with to try to play 9 innings. And you never got past the second inning. Because you run out of points and the computer would cheat. I don't care what anybody says. The computer would cheat. Hit a ground ball to you and you field it like Bill Buckner. Whoops. Find the lie. Find the lie. Oh,
my gosh.
Because you're looking like, I had that sumbitch. And it went right through your leg. You feel like Bill Buckner in 86 or Leon Durham in 84. What was Don Drysdale's call on ABC? Ground ball hit to Durham right through his legs.
Mm-hmm.
You're in position to make the play, but the computer said, "Oh, we're not going to give you any more points." Whoops.
Oh my gosh, I haven't thought about RBI baseball literally
RBI,
in 3 decades.
RBI. They tried bringing it back like 5 years ago. It ain't the same. It's not the
my
same.
gosh.
Call me a get off my lawn kind of guy, but I'm old and I'm old school.
Nothing wrong with that. Either way, nothing wrong with
I'm
that.
old and I'm old school. Okay? I say that a lot. My wife hears me. She goes, "Oh, you're not old." Baby, I'm turning 50. And she goes, "I'm turning 52. And I guess we're both a couple of old farts. And she starts laughing. But with her, I don't feel like I'm 50. I told y'all 3 years ago, she revived me. I'll share a story at the end of the show. But that's our question of the day. Tweet the show at official SIT Morn. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to the brand new Snowman in the Morning YouTube channel. Had one up before, had a name to it, but it plateaued. And I had so many people ask me, I subscribed to your other channel. Why'd you get rid of it? It plateaued. And I fault myself for not finding ways like I have now in making it grow. And I want to thank all you guys for tuning in. Cole, I know you have to go. I'm going to go to a break. But at 12:05, I may have to send some emails. So, sir, I will talk to you tomorrow. I cannot wait. And we may have to go off schedule again tomorrow.
Oh, boy. I can't wait, my man. Love you, bro. And here's the hour number 2 being good today, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Hey, folks, don't forget to stop by my good buddies at Jaguar Land Rover South Shore. Visit them online at jlrsouthshore.com or give them a call at 219-245-2500. That's 219-245-2500. An extended break, and then hour 2 of Snowman in the Morning comes your way after this.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Mister, will you please wake up?
Kelly's one-strike pitch. Swinging a fly ball, center field deep. Bellinger going back to the warning track, to the wall. It's a grand slam. Howie Kendrick has done it. They're going crazy in the Nationals dugout. Howie Kendrick with a grand slam here in the 10th inning of Game 5. The Nationals 7, the Dodgers 3. Do you believe it?
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Oh, yeah.
Hour 2 thereof. And we thank you for joining us. Cole Johnson had to step away, duty called. But I'm going to weigh in on something that Chris Dietz brought to my attention as I changed the graphic here that you see on your screen. We have BRONSEXUAL Confessions for Hour 1 because of my buddy having to step away. But I saw something that as I said, Chris Dietz brought to my attention, and there is your title, Heisman Heist. Because the Heisman has been heisted or stolen from one Desmond Ridder. Now, how can you be a quarterback of a team that raced through the regular season, went 13-0, and not be named a Heisman finalist? The Heisman finalists are Bryce Young for Alabama, C.J. Stroud for Ohio State, Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh, and Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan. Hutchinson, the only defensive player on that list. What is wrong with this picture? Bryce Young has been in contention all season. I get that. C.J. Stroud only became a contender for one game. One. And that was the ass whooping he put on Michigan State. Forgive my French. Will Anderson, Alabama, you know the story. Kenny Pickett has been mentioned only for the second half of the season. He led the Panthers to their first ever ACC championship. They joined the conference in 2013. Okay, congratulations. He threw for a record 519 yards, talking about Kenny Pickett in a loss. Once again, why isn't Desmond Ridder on this list? He may have had a couple of subpar games, but Cincinnati still won. They won all 13 games. They won all 13 games. And he was the leader. Desmond Ridder put his team in a position to win every single game. And I don't understand why he is not a finalist. One of only 2 undefeated teams, UTSA being another, and you know that they're not going to invite their quarterback, even though he ran the table as well, and they're not even inviting him. Chris Dietz joins me. Yo, Dietz.
What's going on, man?
Now, I was going to save this for tomorrow, but I want to feature this now, especially when I do bring you on tomorrow for the full express. I offered my thoughts. I want you to offer yours. What is wrong with Desmond Ridder?
What's wrong with Desmond? There's nothing wrong with Desmond Ridder.
Then why is he not on the Heisman list?
Why he's not on the Heisman list is what we've been talking about all year. It's a reaction to the, as we've called them, the elites of college football that wanted nothing to do with Cincinnati because they were forced to put Cincinnati into the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at what they did, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow. I'm going to talk about it on Fifth Down Sports Show tonight. Look what they did. They put Cincinnati in at 4.
At 4.
Behind 2 teams with losses and another 3 teams with all the teams in front of them.
All the other teams have losses. Bama, Georgia, Michigan. And all the losses are pretty significant.
And out of that group, only one other team has a win over a top 5 team. Only 2 teams that have wins over top 5 teams. Cincinnati being one of them.
Yep.
But
when they beat Notre Dame.
But yet they get the 4 seed because people did not, and the reason why he's not on the Heisman list. I mean, go look at who's on the Heisman list. You have, I mean, I get it. I get it with Bryce. I get it with Bryce. Bryce Young played out of his mind.
Yes.
This weekend. And I get it. I get it. Aiden Hutchinson has there's no other person to put on there from Michigan.
True.
So those 2 make sense. Then you go to the other 2. They're putting C.J. Stroud and Kenny Pickett.
They couldn't switch Pickett for Ridder? I mean, C.J. Stroud is on that list for 1 game. 1.
For the Michigan State game.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep. And they put and it seems like they dropped Kenny Pickett onto the list. But what do all those contenders have in common? They've all lost the game.
They're all I mean, if it were anybody that you were going to remove, it would for me it would be C.J. Stroud.
Yep.
And I've said this all year. Desmond Ridder should have been sent to New York. He probably lost he was my front runner going in. But he probably lost it on Saturday for no fault of his own. The way he lost it is that his running back absolutely took over the game.
Yeah, 189 yards.
And that's really the only thing that Desmond Ridder didn't do all year was in the championship game. It was all about the running back instead of him.
Mm-hmm.
That's no fault of his own, and Bryce Young did what Bryce Young did on Saturday, which probably won him the Heisman.
Yeah.
However, Desmond Ridder should be in New York City. There's no question about it.
None.
The only reason he's not there is they don't want a spotlight. They don't want a spotlight on Cincinnati.
Right.
Because of what the elites we've said this. They were using the poll to punish people who upset their establishment.
You know who got punished the most? Cincinnati and Notre Dame got punished the most, especially Cincinnati. Cincinnati's at the 4 spot, and they're the only undefeated team in the doggone playoff.
And they were forced. It's because they were. I guarantee you, I'm going to talk about this in my open tonight. They were crushed when Baylor lost. When Baylor beat Oklahoma State.
Yep.
The air just went out of the committee.
It did.
And then they said, Houston, save us.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Cincinnati curb stomped them.
They ran them over.
I mean, when it was 14-13 at halftime, and I don't know how many people watched the entire game. I did. When it was 14-13 at halftime, and you heard all the analysis of, well, Houston's hanging in there. Then all of a sudden, the third quarter happens.
The first 4 minutes.
And Cincinnati just absolutely goes bonkers. And you heard the guys calling the game were like, yeah, this was a game at halftime until Cincinnati showed up.
Joe Tessitore.
And just destroyed them.
Joe Tessitore went silent. Joe Tessitore went silent for 4 minutes.
Him and McElroy was like, I don't know what's going on. And it was just absolutely funny listening to them.
It was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Because they were all counting. They were
counting. The committee was counting on 2 teams, Oklahoma State and Houston,
to give them an out.
Yep.
They wanted an out, and they didn't get it. So now they're going to take it out on
Cincinnati.
They're going to take it out on Desmond Ridder, which is it's
asinine.
It's the exact thing that college sports is not supposed to be.
Right.
College sports is supposed to be celebrating these collegiate athletes.
And they're not.
It's supposed to be about the athletes, not that was the whole point. That was the whole thing. Well, that's why we don't pay them. We don't pay them because it's about them just playing the game and the game being pure.
Well, they're paying them now.
Now it's completely up. Now it's completely backwards.
It is
They're
backwards.
punishing the kid for something that he had nothing to do with.
And it ain't fair. It's not fair at all.
It isn't. But there's no law.
But they're going to offer some kind of stupid justification for it.
The logic.
They're going to offer some stupid justification for it.
There's no justification. I mean, there isn't. I can't come up with. I know what the justification is. The justification is, and I've said this all year. If we fast forward this exact scenario, a year from now, Desmond Ridder would be going to New York. Why?
Yep.
Because Cincinnati would be in the Big 12. That's it. That's the list. There's no other reason why Kenny Pickett should be on that list.
I can't think of a game where Kenny Pickett stood out. I mean, the reason I can think of they put Pickett on the list is because he led him to the ACC championship. That's the only justifiable reason I can think of.
And don't get me wrong about Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett may be, and I said this from the beginning of the year, he may be the first pick in the NFL draft as far as the best quarterback in the draft.
Right.
But he's not even the best quarterback in his conference.
No, he's not.
I mean, what Sam Hartman did at Wake Forest blows him away.
And why wasn't he invited?
And
with what he put up.
And the only reason he wasn't invited is because Pitt won the
ACC. Yep.
But still, Sam Hartman got Wake Forest into the top 10. Wake Forest was in the top 10 of the college football playoff for multiple weeks.
And still.
And you don't and it was all because of Sam Hart. Right? He's the only one at Wake Forest.
He's the biggest reason. The reason that they were in the top 10 in the college football playoff.
I mean, and I feel bad. I do feel. I know you have a lot of North Carolina listeners down there. I know you're in North Carolina. I feel so bad for North Carolina.
Same.
For Wake Forest.
Yeah. Wake Forest is like.
Imagine what they would have been like with Sam Hartman and with the transfer running back that went to state. Remember, Kenneth Walker was a Wake Forest product.
Mm-hmm. He was.
On the Wake Forest team last year before he hit the transfer portal.
And that transfer portal is going to be the death of college sports.
How good would that Wake Forest offense was good without him. You put a guy who was basically running the Heisman Trophy until Ohio State happened.
Yeah.
You put him in that backfield, how good would that in this season? Wake Forest would have dominated the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
With those two guys, with Hartman and Walker in the backfield. So I just feel so bad for them. They got hoodwinked by a guy hitting the transfer portal.
Yep.
And
they did.
But
it's sad. It's
but
just sad to me.
The Heisman Trophy, and this is something that all college football fans like myself, I've said the Heisman Trophy is the greatest award out of any of these awards. You take NFL MVP, you take NBA MVP, you take MLB, all of these things. The Heisman Trophy is always sacred because it's not the MVP.
Right.
It's not the most valuable player. It's not. Hey, you won all these games. That's why you should be there. No, it has always been and always will be the bet. And if you read it, it doesn't say the most valuable. It says the best player in college football.
Yes.
That's it. That's the list. That's why guys like Charles Woodson were up for the award. That's why guys like Orlando Pace were sent to New York. You know, it's the best player in college football. So there's an aura to it.
There's an aura to it.
They have eroded it for a long time.
Yeah, they have.
It's been a few years of just chipping it away, and now and that's where we sit right now with we're going with this. And just again, I'm gonna expand more on this on my show tonight because I don't want to take up too much of your time. But where it started was when they gave it to RG3.
Yeah. Over Andrew Luck.
Not even over Andrew Luck. Over the best player in college football that year. The best player in college football that year was the Honey Badger.
Tyrann Mathieu.
There was no reason why LSU should have been in the national championship game other than having Tyrann Mathieu on their team.
Yeah.
Because of all the garbage, the off the field stuff that he got into and all of that was surrounding him. Even with that, he still played defense, which their defense was outstanding the whole year. They shut down Alabama. until the championship game. But in the regular season, they shut down Alabama. They shut down everybody they played, and he returned punts. And I think he returned like 3 or 4 of them for touchdowns, win games. And it was like, and then they were like, oh, well, we need to find somebody else to give it to. And they just gave it to RG3.
I don't know what RG3 did to really impress them.
Baylor did not have a great season.
No.
They just had, I believe they won the Big 12, but it was like one of those years where the Big 12 was like, you know, a 3-win team won the conference.
Yep.
And it was just one of those odd years where you looked at it, and I only remember it because it was when I started to get into this, when I started at Challenge Flag, which was my website that I was writing for. And I wrote, my first article was, why isn't the honey badger getting this?
Right.
and went through all the points, but that's where it started to erode. And they started to just say, well, we're just going to give it to the most popular guy, or we're going to talk everybody up to that point. And it was never like that before. Now, Heisman Trophy was always special, and it's just been eroding ever since.
Yeah.
To where it has now been, and it's so weird because, and I know they don't do this show anymore, and I love Dan Le Batard. I love him as a sportscaster. I've always watched his shows. I love his radio show. But do you understand that his father had a Heisman vote? And they used to joke about, I mean, this is why I love Dan Le Batard. He used to joke about it all the time. He said, when my father was put on the list to get a vote, that's when I stopped believing in this award. and I was the same.
I remember him making that joke too.
I was like, how does this guy get a pick just because he's on TV? Like, his father got an award because he sits next to Dan Le Batard, and that's where this has gone. That's where this has gone off the rails. They have given Heisman votes to people who are sitting there watching the games, and they're basically like, yeah, I don't even talk college football, but we have
the wrong people are getting the votes or an opportunity to vote. The wrong people are getting an opportunity to vote. We're up against the break, but I had to bring you in for at least this. He'll be back. Chris needs to be back tomorrow for the full College Football Express, and it's the Fifth Down Sports Show tonight. I owe you a new logo for that. I'll make sure I get that done this weekend, but I can't wait to tune in tonight. I might have to call in. I might have to call in and weigh in.
Absolutely, and for anybody that's listening out there, we'll be live tonight at 9:00 Eastern time, and live callers. So feel free to call the show. Check us out on Facebook. You'll get the number, and we'll have everything up there. We're posting the show right now, and we'll be doing it live and covering everything college football playoff, all of that stuff. So
can't wait.
And Snowman, you're more than welcome.
I appreciate it.
And discuss everything in college, NFL, all of that. We'll be hitting it all tonight.
I appreciate it, my friend. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you.
No problem. Always a pleasure.
Well, you'll hear the full College Football Express tomorrow, and there will be a lot more discussed at 12:05, beginning hour 2 tomorrow. Back after this.
This is Snowman in the morning.
It is, and we're just about wrapped up for the day. But I debated on replaying the BRONSEXUAL confessions. I decided not to. I think I'm just gonna close up shop here and tell y'all tomorrow Chris Dietz will join me for a full version of the College Football Express. And Mike Debate will join me at the bottom of hour 2, working on finding a guest for hour 1. Eric Wilson will join me on Friday. But it just seems right for me to close up here. There's still a few things I need to do to add to the program, which I am going to, but I am going to repeat something I said earlier in the show that I plan to do. And my wife gave me the suggestion. And the suggestion was, why don't you focus, she said, Dr. K said, why don't you focus on doing more women's sports? After the talk I had today, and several times over with her and with Cole and with Scoop Miller I had today, I'm all in on that commitment. Because it's long since time to have that happen. It's something that needs to be done. That's about all I got. It's something that needs to be done. It's something that should have been done. I've been hooked on women's sports since '82, and that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed, and it will not change. So, in the midst of doing this damn thing called beating cancer, in the midst of rocking what I need to rock and doing what I need to do to get healthy, I'm going to put a plan in motion to start covering more women's sports, play-by-play wise. because I'll keep saying it. It's time. It should have happened a long time ago. And as much as I love watching it, much as I love watching women's sports, I want to be there to do more. I need to be there to do more. Much, much more. Me, Eric Wilson, Cole Johnson, anybody that wants to jump on this train, jump on it now. Speaking of which, if you want to sponsor this show, drop an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. For those of you watching on Facebook, there's a fundraiser out there where you can not only help me, but my family. And that's the biggest reason I put 2 fundraisers out there, both of which are still active. As I ramble on here to the end of the show, I am going to beat cancer. I'm going to get healthy. And I plan to be active in covering women's sports and doing play-by-play again. Hell, I may start it this spring. Or parts of this winter. It's going to depend on my health. I know that. It's going to depend on my mobility because I'm due to start another round of chemo. But I'm going to get it done. I am simply going to get it done, period. I have to. I absolutely have to. And for those who don't believe, continue not to believe all you want. Not going to stop me. Absolutely not going to stop me. As I said this morning, can't be stopped, won't be stopped. I got stuff to do. And I plan to do all of it. I plan to do all of it. Thank you all for tuning in today. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. Always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then they are not big enough. And I know I'm ending early, but dream big, do bigger. I am, and I hope you all are too. I'm out of here. See you tomorrow.